Level 1. The number that didn't exist. Your grandfather didn't know what a billion was, not because he was uneducated, because it wasn't a word that had any business being in his mouth. A billion was something that existed in newspapers, next to photographs of men in suits standing in front of buildings with their names on them. It was not a number that belonged to people like him. It was not a number that belonged to your family at all. He kept a ledger, a physical one, green cover, the kind with the red spine. Every week what came in, every week what went out. The math was always close, sometimes too close. The ledger never had a surplus line. It didn't need one. You grew up knowing, without anyone saying it, that the ledger was the ceiling, that the careful, anxious arithmetic of that green book was what life looked like for people like you. Enough, sometimes almost enough, never more than that. Never a number so large it stopped making sense. Nobody told you not to dream past the ledger. They didn't have to. The ledger told you itself. Level 2. The thought that changed the shape of the room. You were somewhere ordinary when it happened. A library, maybe. A phone screen at 1 a.m. Someone else's story you stumbled into sideways. And you read about a person who started with nothing recognizable, no inheritance, no connections, no name that opened doors. And the number next to their name had 10 digits in it. The thought that arrived was not, "I want that." It was quieter and more dangerous than that. It was, "They weren't born different from me." That single thought is either the beginning of everything or the beginning of a decade of pain. Usually both. You don't know which one yet. You write it down somewhere. You don't tell anyone. Your circle has a very efficient immune system. It identifies ambition above a certain altitude as a foreign body and attacks. You've seen it happen. You stay quiet. You keep the thought to yourself, like something fragile you're not sure you can protect yet. But it's there now, and it doesn't go back.
Level 3. The years nobody films. 5 years in, maybe 7, your bank account does not match the vision in your head, and the distance between those two things has become its own kind of suffering. This is the part of the story that gets cut from every documentary, every podcast episode, every How I Built This. They skip from the thought to the outcome and leave out the geography between them, which is where most people live forever. You are tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. You have taken losses that had specific, humiliating numbers attached to them. You have sat with those numbers at 3 a.m. and let them say everything they wanted to say about you. You have heard the voice that sounds exactly like every person who ever doubted you get very loud and very reasonable. It said, "Nobody from where you're from has done this. That's not coincidence. That's data." Your family starts asking questions with an edge in them. When is this going to become something real? Not because they want you to fail, because they're scared, and scared people run out of patience. You lose a friendship over it. Not dramatically, no confrontation, just a slow drift, 2 boats with a rope between them, and someone quietly letting it out inch by inch until the shore where you started is just a shape you can barely make out. You keep going. Not because you are made of something rare, because the floor on the other side has been burned. Because the version of you that folds and goes back to the ledger, that version doesn't exist anymore. You made sure of it.
Level 4. The first real number. It's a Wednesday. Nothing about it announces itself. You check a number and it's different from the number you expected, and for a moment the screen doesn't make sense. You check it again. You close it. You sit very still. 8 figures. Not 9, not yet, but real and specific and yours. And nothing that came before this prepared you for what it actually feels like, which is not triumph. It's closer to vertigo, like standing at the edge of something with no railing. You want to call your mother. You dial. You talk for 20 minutes about nothing important. You don't mention the number, not because you're hiding it, because you don't have the language for it yet. The number doesn't fit inside any conversation your family has ever had. Saying it would require explaining everything, and you don't have the energy for everything tonight. You hang up, you sit in the dark, you let it be real. The fear changes shape now. Before, you were afraid it would never work. Now you're afraid it will work and then stop. You become protective in a way that looks, from the outside, like paranoia. You reinvest everything. You stay uncomfortable on purpose. You have learned the hard way that comfort is where momentum goes to die. Level 5. The Crossing. The number clears 10 digits on a Tuesday. There is no soundtrack. You are sitting at a desk in a room that is not remarkable. You run the numbers the way you have run them 100 times before, and this time they say something different. $1 billion. Your name, your account, your Social Security number. You check it 3 times, then you close the laptop, then you open it again, then you close it. You thought this would feel like a finish line, like the specific physical release of a breath you have been holding for years. Instead, it is quiet, profoundly, disorientingly quiet, because there is no reference for this inside your family's history. Your grandfather's ledger had no page for this. Your parents have no word for what you just became. The emotional vocabulary for this moment does not exist in the house you grew up in. You are standing in a room where all the furniture has been removed, and there is no one who can tell you what is supposed to happen next. You call your mother. You talk for half an hour. You say you're doing well. She says, eat something real, not just whatever's fast. You say, okay. You hang up. You sit in the quiet for a long time. The green ledger is gone. In its place, structures, accounts, vehicles, legal architectures your grandfather never knew existed. You didn't just cross a finish line, you crossed into a country your family has never set foot in, and nobody left you a map. Level 6. The cost of the view. You go home for the holidays. Same house, same smell in the walls, something you stopped noticing when you lived there and notice immediately now when you step through the door. Same too loud television, same table with a folded napkin under one leg. You pay for dinner. You say it's nothing. They say you didn't have to. You say you wanted to. There is a silence after that exchange that lasts exactly long enough to be uncomfortable. Everyone moves on. Nobody mentions it again. But something shifted, something that nobody named and nobody needed to name. Old friends treat you differently, some quieter, self-conscious, some louder, testing, searching for the version of you they understood. When they can't find him, they don't know what to do with the one standing in front of them. And there is guilt, not the abstract kind, the specific, grinding kind. The guilt of watching your mother still price things before she puts them in a cart, when you could end that forever with a single call to your accountant. The guilt of knowing how to fix it and not knowing how to fix it without changing something irreversible between you. You carry it. You get used to it. You do not put it down. Level 7. What you carry now. There is a version of this story where the billion is the point. It is not the point. The point is what happens to every person who comes after you, your children, their children, the ones who will never know what the ledger looked like, who will grow up in a world where the ceiling your grandfather couldn't see past is not even a memory, it's simply gone, replaced by open sky that they will assume has always been there. They will not know about the 3 a.m. moments, the specific loneliness of a milestone with no reference point, the Tuesday when the number changed and there was no one to call, the dinner where you paid and everyone went quiet. They will not know, and that is the whole point. You didn't do this for a trophy. You didn't do this to prove anything to anyone who ever doubted you, though there were moments, many of them, when spite was the only fuel left in the tank. You did this so the next one starts somewhere you never did. You did this so the green ledger, the careful, anxious arithmetic of just enough, ends with you. You did this so your grandchildren grow up thinking that abundance is simply what life looks like for people like them. The billion is not the achievement. The billion is the architecture, the foundation under foundations that didn't exist before you built them. Your grandfather kept a green ledger. You changed what the word enough means in your family's language forever. The view from here is nothing like you imagined. It's heavier, quieter, more real, and you would not trade it for any version of easier. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next.